So while the fires are burning, the plume is got all kinds of deadly stuff in it. All that stuff you had from COVID, the mask, the air filter, it's time to use it again. In which case, you really need to look at the sensors that are out there, and I recommend looking at the Purple Air website, because people all over LA have sensors that they've purchased from this company to measure the particles in the atmosphere. So you'll be able to see where the smoke is at any given time using that.
All right, Anthony, thank you for coming to the Heal Thyself show on such short notice. This is a very special show. It's very impromptu. And I'm really excited to talk to someone who has expertise on a very acute situation that's going on, the LA fires. And now moving into what is in the air, how are we affected, when is it going to be safe? So before we jump into it, can you just let us know a little bit about what you do?
Sure. So I'm director of the Air Quality Research Center at UC Davis and a professor here in a few different departments. And my research is on air pollution and its health effects, and its dynamics in the atmosphere and how it affects climate change.
That's a whole load full of good stuff, and it's going to be perfect right now in this conversation, which leads me to a lot of these concerns that are happening. The LA fires, we think about the fires first and foremost, wildfires, and we think about the smog, and then it goes away, and we don't think about it much more than that, and we go back to our lives. But this is a very special situation in that so many homes were burned, and me being familiar with, okay, well, these materials have these toxins. Not all homes are very naturally, healthily built. Now we have all these combusted particles. How problematic is what we are seeing right now in this next phase as we enter the fires ending, but now all of these homes burned down?
So first of all, your concern is correct, that burning homes is and all the materials that we have in homes, the plastics and the metal and everything is terrible. And breathing that stuff in is bad for you, no question. The fires are ending hopefully soon. Hopefully the current winds were not going to make it worse. And there's going to be still some emissions because of the smoldering ash, and that stuff is also not great. So after some more time, the the smoldering will stop, and then what's left on the ground is the ash, and the smoke will all blow away in a few days. That's the typical LA thing, and so the air will be clear except for continuing emissions, which are mostly going to be from the ash, which shouldn't be too bad as long as people don't disturb it. Now, what's going to happen is that FEMA is going to come in and clean up the ash. It's going to take some time. They're all going to be in hazmat suits and all that. One of my concerns is that people come in and naturally want to go and see their house if it's still there. They want to go and see if it's burned down, if there are any artifacts that they want to collect for memorabilia. And I'm concerned that it's not going to be good for their health because this ash is pretty toxic stuff. But also it'll stir up, by rummaging around, they're going to stir up the ash, and that will also affect them and the neighbors around them, because the ash is going to get back up into the atmosphere. So I discourage people from going back until FEMA has done their cleanup, but some people are going to do it anyway.
And we can expect that. I know a lot of people already who have the first opportunity gone back to see their house. And in some videos, there's people wearing no masks. Some are wearing masks. And a lot of the questions that I'm getting from people is, okay, I left LA during this. I'm coming back. Is the first step that if I'm outside, I should be wearing a mask? For how long? And then really, it's the big thing is the distance. LA is big. There's a Palisades fire. There was a fire up north towards Altadena. How far are we supposed to be concerned when it comes to these fires that have burned, as far as who is affected, how, to what extent, to what intensity, who should really be wearing a mask, putting on the air purifier, staying indoors? All right, everyone. I have today a very, very special announcement that I've been very excited to share. Now, you may have seen me do some posts about mental health and mental health education lately, and that's for a reason. And today I am announcing that I am joining the founding team of a revolutionary new mental health institution.
It's called the Integrative Psychology Institute, and it is for people who want to help people heal their mental health, but don't resonate with the conventional education paths. So this institute will give you a strong foundation in somatic practices and pave a path for you into professional mental health practice. And I got into this inspired because mental health is truly suffering in the United States. And many therapists are coming to the point where they're realizing that talking is not enough to get to the root of mental health issues. And in this institute, we recognize that problem and created the solution and teaching students how to truly get to the root of mental health issues and process it through the body. And I'm so proud to be part of this because I truly believe it is going to revolutionize mental health in the United States. You're going to see me continuously post and talk about this in the future. And I'm really excited for you to discover what we're doing at the Integrative Psychology Institute. You know, as much as we focus on what we eat, it's just as important that we consider how our food is prepared. That's where Our Place comes in. They're revolutionizing the way we cook with their amazing cast iron line. Now I've been using Our Place cast iron pans in the kitchen, and let me tell you, they are a game changer. What sets them apart is that they're enameled, which is not like those traditional cast iron pans. They're never gonna rust, and they're incredibly easy to use. What really impressed me is that Our Place is serious about their safety. They have a cast iron line that doesn't just meet the FDA standards, but it goes above and beyond. There's no Proposition 65 warning on these products in California, which is a really big deal if you're health conscious like me. That means it's not leaching heavy metals like lead or cadmium into your food. It's passing all of the requirements that is protecting you from those harmful substances. So if you're looking to upgrade your cookware with something that's not just functional, but also super health conscious, I always recommend Our Place. Our Place offers a 100-day trial with free shipping and returns. Head over to FromOurPlace.com and use the code DRG at checkout to receive 10% off site-wide. From OurPlace.com, the code is DRG. As we return to our routine after the holidays and set New Year's resolutions, I know many of you are refocusing on your health and fitness goals. But before you jump into that new diet or exercise plan, let's talk about something that is an absolute game changer, that is magnesium. Did you know that over 75% of Americans are deficient in magnesium? This one mineral is involved in over 600 biological reactions in your body, making it crucial. This is why I want to introduce you to my favorite magnesium. I've been taking it for years. I take it every night before bed. 2, Magnesium Breakthrough by Biooptimizers. What sets this supplement apart is that it contains 7 forms of magnesium. It's full spectrum and ensures the body is getting a complete range of benefits, and it's designed for maximum bioavailability. So you're getting all the goodies of magnesium from it. So it doesn't matter if you're on a weight loss journey, if you're taking medications that are depleting your magnesium. It's all about really setting these healthy habits to maintain your progress long term. And Magnesium Breakthrough is going to support you naturally in several ways. It's going to help the sleep quality. It's going to help weight management, metabolism, stress response, insulin response, blood sugar response. Overall, I mean, magnesium is like one of the 3 things people should be on. But so many people, over 70%, are deficient in magnesium. So if you want to give Magnesium Breakthrough a try, I got a special offer for you. Go to biooptimizers.com/DRG. That is bioptimizers.com/DRG and use the promo code DRG10 to get 10% off of your order. If you love the podcast and you want to be down with the Dr. G Heal Thyself community, we give incredible tips every single week on getting a healthier physical, mental, and emotional body. The newest updates of my favorite products, the newest updates of my favorite practices. Stay in the loop by joining the Dr. G community. All you got to do is go to any one of my posts on Instagram and comment the word news. You'll get a DM to join.
So while the fires are burning, the plume is got all kinds of deadly stuff in it, right? And so you want to make sure that if the plume is in your area, that you are indoors and that the house is all closed up and that you have your air filter on, all that stuff you had from COVID, the mask, the air filter, it's time to use it again. Clean the air in the house using that stuff and wear the mask. Now, how do you know if the plume is if the smoke is in your neighborhood? Well, that's hard. You can't. Sometimes if you see it, of course, it's there, and that's very clear. If you smell it, it's there, and that's very clear. But sometimes it's there, and you can't see it or smell it. In which case, you really need to look at the sensors that are out there, and I recommend looking at the Purple Air website, purpleair.com. because people all over LA have sensors that they purchased from this company to measure the particles in the atmosphere. And those sensors are much more sensitive than your nose or your eyes. And so you'll be able to see where the smoke is at any given time using that map. And if it's in your neighborhood, no exercise. I give you permission to be a couch potato and not exercise, because that way you're not breathing so much, and close up the house, keep the kids indoors.
Yeah. So when we think about the smoke, we obviously, very obviously, would be look up and be able to see a smoke cloud over where we're living. But when it comes to the chemicals that are liberated from these houses burned down, is that also a smoke cloud, or can some of it be not seen to the eye?
Right. Good question. So it's very hard to detect all the different chemicals that are coming off the smoke. But generally speaking, when there's a fire, the emissions are both the gases and the particles. And so the sensors, the purple air sensors that I was talking about, those are detecting the particles, but the particles and the gases are together. So if the particles are there, the gases are there generally. And if the particles are not there, the gases are not there generally.
So that's a good way to look at it, you're saying. So
Yeah.
then does that, when it comes to the air quality index, the AQI that everyone's looking at, isn't that then just a reliable measure if that's particulates?
And so those updates are not necessarily fast enough, but the purple air is pretty much real, instantaneous.
Yeah. That's it. So that's a really good intervention for us to feel safe knowing that I can put this in front of my home, you're saying, and it can sense if those particulates and gas are in the area or
Right.
near your home, and then you
Right.
can make informed decisions based on that.
Right. You can go and buy one for sure, but there's tons of them already out there. And so if you look at the map, you'll see that
Mm,
there's already so many out there that you already have a pretty good sense of where the problems are. But you can buy one too, plug it in. Sure.
yeah. And you're saying for the AQI, it's not sensitive enough to be measuring these particulates and vapors?
Well, I don't know currently how they so it used to be that the AQI was based on only a few sensors around LA. Now, maybe they're also relying more on these inexpensive ones that people have in their homes. I don't know. So the AQI is it it changes, and I can't keep track of all the different changes that are being done. So I may not be up to date.
In your experience, if there's an epicenter as big as the Palisades and the surrounding areas, how far of a distance can these plumes of chemicals reach? And I know that there's variables like wind and rain and the ocean being nearby, but how for I know there's a lot of people saying, "I live here. Should I be concerned? I live here. Should I be concerned?"
And that's why I'm talking about this purple air, because what happens is that you have a fire in the Palisades, and the smoke can go anywhere. And the LA meteorology is you get these inversions. You've all heard about inversions. That's what keeps the smog bad in LA anyway. Um, that means that you don't get a lot of dilution of the smoke from the fires. Now, if it's windy, of course, it blows the smoke away. Great. Of course, that same wind that's blowing the smoke away is also making the fires worse. So it's
Yeah.
a two-edged sword. Yeah, and so that's why you really need to, because the winds, when there's not strong winds, the breezes can be blowing it anywhere, and that's really what determines if your neighborhood's getting hit by it. Which is why you just gotta pull out the map and take a look.
That makes sense. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that a really, really good measure would be to just even download the Purple Air app and
Yeah.
check what it looks like. If you want to get a sensor to be more accurate about your immediate home area,
Yep.
then that would be a really good guide. Does the ocean being nearby, at least for the Palisades, play a role with any dispersion of these chemicals?
Yeah. So when you don't have the big Santa Anas that have been fanning these flames, um, then you get the kind of typical meteorological pattern is that you get the onshore wind in the daytime, which takes the smoke from, say, the Palisades in towards downtown,
Mm.
Hollywood and then downtown. But in the evening, it goes the other way. It's that oftentimes the flow is out, so it takes that smoke out over the ocean where you don't have anybody living, which is good. So that's this kind of washing back and forth that sort of happens.
There's a lot of folks, especially in the community in the Palisades, who are worried about this 9/11 effect. Like the Twin Towers fall, the firefighters and immediate people around are exposed. 15 years later, they're getting lung cancer. Is this comparable to anything like that
It is for the first responders.
for the first
Yeah,
responders?
yeah. I mean, if if the firefighters are saying you should leave your home, you should and you stay there instead, then you're going to be exposed like a first responder. But if you take their advice and you leave and get some distance from the flames and from the smoke, then that's going to be a big help for you. But the firefighters and the other first responders who are right on top of it, they may suffer some health problems.
Yeah, yeah. So the mask, should we be wearing the K95 mask for a certain amount of time once everyone is coming back to LA and the fire stop?
In general, you don't need. I don't think you need to. I think it's again when the smoke is where you are, then you want to wear it. But when there's not smoke, then you can live your life normally.
Yeah. So, like you said, being indoors, make sure everyone viewing and listening grab a really good quality air purifier, maybe carbon and HEPA, cleaning out the air, and sort of staying indoors, at least in this immediate time where you're saying that now there's ash, FEMA's going to come clean up. We can use the purple air as a reference, but maybe it's not a good time this week or next week to go jogging on your normal route without a mask or just in general,
Terrible,
correct?
terrible, a terrible idea. Yes, do not.
Terrible
Yeah,
idea.
try to minimize your exercise until the air clears up. And
Okay.
and I really like your suggestion about the carbon. So some of the air filters are just for particles, and which means they don't have the activated carbon filter, and some of them have the additional activated carbon. And I think it's very important to have the activated carbon because there'll be a lot of the filters without the activated carbon will get the particles out of the air, but they won't get the gases. And some of those
Mm.
gases are also toxic. And so it's important to also get if you can, find one that has the activated carbon also.
Should people always have their windows closed? Is there a certain amount of time for that too? When can we open our windows, let the breeze come in when we're cooking, get back to that normal life?
Yes, I come back to the same thing. If the plume is not there, if you're not seeing it, then live your life. Open the windows, enjoy yourself, barbecue, go outside for a jog, whatever you want to do. But if the plume is there, hunker down.
And with the awareness that we might not see, it might all not all be visible. And
Right.
again, we come back to the this app that we can use. And
Exactly.
we were talking on the phone. You told me about it, and I immediately looked on it, learned about it. I told some of my friends who live in the Palisades or who lived in the Palisades just to have this idea. If it was to rain in the next few weeks, would that better or worsen the situation?
Oh wow, it's going to better some things and it's going to worsen some things. So um, it's going to damp down the ash and damp down any kind of any kind of fires that are still smoldering. It'll put them out. That's the good thing. The bad thing is that a lot of these fires, what they do is they kind of seal the soil, and so the water doesn't soak in so well, which means that there could be some serious flooding and some mudslides.
And the mudslides in itself, as we know in LA, they're so regular
Yep,
that in itself is a huge problem,
yep,
blocking off roadways. All the congestion it causes. So I'm hearing the rain, good for some things, not good for others.
yep,
Okay, if we were to be living near the Palisades and there is smoke and say we for the past few weeks didn't really heed these warnings of, maybe wear a mask or air purifier or close your windows. For those people who were outside and let's say volunteering, but there was smoke over them, are they going to get sick? Are they doomed, or are they kind of okay for now, but now start following these things?
it's so hard to predict. um, so people of normal health are probably going to just be fine, going to clear it, their body will handle it just like body handles other toxins. But children who are growing, it may disrupt how well they grow, especially their lungs. Older people or people with some pre-existing health condition, emphysema or cardiovascular problem, that it could be a problem for them.
People who live in these areas, they shouldn't go back until it's cleaned up, like you said, till the ash is cleaned up, the mess is cleaned up. There's no more liberation of these ash particles in the air.
Yes. Yeah, please stay away as much as you can from these areas that have a lot of ash, because it's not good stuff.
And that can take a while, especially
Yep.
with the damage that we've seen.
Yep.
Uh,
FEMA will come in and clean up, but of course their resources are limited, and so it's gonna, and there's a lot of damage that needs to be cleaned up, so it's gonna take some time.
Anything in your expertise that we may be missing that is really important for the audience to know? There's a lot of people who live in LA and who actually listen to this show who are really interested. Is there anything that we missed out on?
Well, I think the thing I want to talk about is that this is all climate change related stuff, right? This is just not I mean, yeah, we have fires in LA, and yeah, we have this and that, but the scale, of course, is different. And this is not just LA. This is happening worldwide, that there are extreme winds or extreme temperatures or whatever all over the place. And this is climate change. And this is very important that we understand the root cause and that we do what we can to take action to reduce our emissions. So that means a lot of that's political, right? Voting for people who are going to take the right measures.
And in this case, is it a matter of we just because of climate change, things are extra dry, extra susceptible to ignition? And I don't know if they found what caused this, but what was the cause in your estimation as
Oh,
far
I
as
don't.
climate change? How does that happen?
Well, so there's different layers of cause. One is, how did the fire start, right? And I have no idea.
Hmm.
Um, but the other thing is, well, how come we have 100-mile-an-hour winds, right? And that's partly a climate change issue,
I
right?
see.
Of course, there's always been Santa Ana winds in LA, right?
Yeah.
But like this, right? This high, and then having no rain, still in the season.
Yeah. Yeah. All the
These,
things we need to consider because inevitably it's going to get worse.
well, hopefully we will. I mean, there's more renewable energy being generated all the time, and there's less coal being burned and less other fossil fuels being burned. We're making progress on this as a planet, as a society, but we need to make progress more quickly.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. This is a really important angle that needs to be spoken about, at least for all of us viewers and listeners, starting to put some more weight on it because look at the effects. So many people have been implicated, and it's not just in LA. This can happen in many places. And so, yeah, I really want to thank you for your time and expertise and really your recommendations. You've given us a moment to breathe and take in some practical interventions where we can start doing things for ourselves and feeling more safe. I know there's a lot of Los Angelinos who have been asking me, well, ask him this. And I think we got a lot of good questions answered. So again, how can people find you? Will you be doing any lectures on this, any other press on this, anything on a website?
Well, I've been spending most of my days with the press. So there's something on CNN coming up. There's something in the LA Times. There's something on KCRW. So if you just search for my name on the web, I think you'll find. But I think it's mostly what we talked about is similar to what I've talked about with other reporters and other
Yeah,
venues. So I don't think you're going to get a lot more out of others, but you can poke around and yeah.
amazing. Uh, Thank you, Anthony, so much. And let's all band together and really start, taking care of ourselves, especially in this time. Thank you
Yes.
for your information and your wisdom.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me, and thank you for helping people with this terrible problems we have right now.